comes Burge. He's got Kelly Miller. Miller, let it go. Shot Johansson. Shot. Ridley scores. Here's a 2-on-1 break near side. Looking centered. Score! The shots are 3-3, and the score is 1-1. Hatcher will rush it up near side for Jones. He fell down and took a skate in the mouth. Hatcher's all right, but he got hit. He's screaming at the referee, but really that was where. Now here they go. Vukota and Berube.
The standoff. These guys know one another. I asked Berube before the game if he'd ever fought Vukota. He laughed at me. He said about 1,000,000 times. And the one thing he said about Vukota is he's a smart fighter, but Berube got the better of him on that one.
Now the linesman. Oh. Remember, these are replacement officials. Paul Flaherty, self-employed, Framingham, Mass. Dennis Scholes of Boston, a steam engineer. The two linesmen who just got some work in the National Hockey League.
Well, here is Kevin Hatcher falling into a stick that he thought was intentional. That's Joe Day that kept the stick down and clipped him right in the face. Hatcher got up yelling at the referee. Did not like it at all. He thought Day could have pulled the stick back. Wow, he's got the blood flowing already. Well, if you're wondering what kind of sparks fly when teams meet for the first time in a season following a playoff series the year before, they average 18 penalty minutes more per game than the NHL average. So there is something to that carryover from the last year's playoff series.
So we've had 5 for fighting picked up by both the two who went at it. And there is Todd Krieger, another one of the heavyweights out there who can also play the game. Vukota's gone in the penalty box with Berube.
Gary, you got to give Mick Vukota credit for one thing. He's fighting with bad hands. I mean, he actually missed 2 games on a Florida swing because of a couple of battles that he got in earlier in the year. One with big Mike Peluso from the Devils. And his hands were so messed up he had to take 2 games off. But obviously he's got the brine soaking going.
Tough way to earn a living, huh?
Well, he's a smart fighter, too. And Craig Berube gave him all the credit in the world before the game. He said he's very smart once he gets in there. He knows how to tie you up. He knows which arm to grab, so he basically can take care of you in a lot of different ways. But, hey, a lot of teams want Craig Berube, too, because he's a good enough skater to be able to play like Vukota, won't hurt you on the ice, and can do what he just did.
Our substitute referee working tonight's game is Drew Taylor out of Watertown, New York. Turnaround, Krieger, shot, save, rebound, LaChance. Scott LaChance did not clears. Iafrate scores! Al Iafrate from the left point. The Caps will take a 2-1 lead. Darius Kasparaitis hasn't scored in 20 games. He could care less about that. All he wants to do is get his defensive assignments down. Linesman goes down. 2-on-1 break. In the middle. 3-on-1. Held it. Shot. Save. Rebound. Score! Travis Green picked up the loose puck. 2-2. Rico Ciccone, when he's out there looking for some heavy hitting to go on. Washington Capitals number 19 out there on the ice right there. Ciccone flipped it ahead. Thomas went after him in front of the Caps bench. They exchange a couple of shoves. Far side, it is pinned up along the line, and it'll be an offside call. Ciccone and Thomas still having words.
Watch Scott LaChance just try to clear the puck, and Keith Jones, that's what following through on your check is all about. He just leveled Scott LaChance. And then Steve Thomas tried to get Enrico Ciccone. Look at Ciccone with the stick up and then the poking in the face.
First power play of the game. Ridley brings it in. Dropped it off. Shot. Hatcher scores! 2-on-1 again. King coming. King drops it back. Looking. Vukota. King scores!
Well, all positions are contact positions in this sport. Ron Hextall gets run over by a couple of Washington Capitals. Dmitry Kristich is one of them. There's the net going off. Hextall will get up. He thinks the penalty at this point is against Washington. Watch, he goes to put the net back on. Looks up ice. Wait a minute. It's not against... It's against us.
Let me open this door a little wider. Iafrate's got it back. Power play with 39 seconds left on it. Iafrate sends it in. He got leveled by Casparitis.
He gave him the submarine hit, and boy, that's a ligament shot if I ever saw one. We talked about that submarine hit on Al Iafrate. Here it is. Out of nowhere, right for the knees. And Al Iafrate at one point in his career, Gary, about 3 years ago when he was paranoid about guys going for his knees because he got banged up a couple of times and had surgery on his knees, would have gone right after Darius Kasparaitis. He's gotten over that fear of somebody taking his knees out. But that came from the side, too. I'm really surprised Al Iafrate was able to walk away from that. Here's the Casparitis hit again, Gary, while we got a chance. Iafrate really... Oh, he may have had a chance to see him coming and get his weight up off of his skates.
Able to put anything in for that long. Thomas. Ferraro cutting to the net. So's home. Score!
And get the puck while you're standing still and have nobody to pass to.
And you're just kind of stuck in front. Hextall save, covered up. He's not happy with the way people are moving in on him, and he tells Keith Jones and the official about it. Steve Levy. 14-10-4, lifetime against Washington. Came in with an .896 save percentage. He had a lot of red jerseys in there with him.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it was like run over Ron Hextall day. I mean, even after he got up from that one, Krieger was left wide open for a deflection, and then this is Kristich going to the net, plowed him over. You know the interesting thing about the shots, Gary, and you'll see one more of these. The interesting thing about the shots, and you mentioned 13-10, I mean, not really a scary number. 13-10's all right. There he is, buried again. But where the shots came from, they came from all on the doorstep, mostly on 2-on-1 breaks against the Capitals, on Islanders allowed to stand in front of Rick Tabaracci, and on guys crashing into Ron Hextall.
McGinnis, flatly taken out of the play. Good check put on him, covered up Tabaracci. Nobody there in another color. Now they get the whistle blown. Now the sticks get up. Patrick Flatley getting in a shoving match. Ryan Curran, 38 of the Caps.
Yeah. Well, Darius Kasparaitis here with a real nice takeout. Al Arbor listed earlier in the season a number of things that Darius Kasparaitis has to do. People will cut it. Johansson, the guy with the puck, number 6 for the Capitals, he's done it twice in this game already. They spot Turgeon behind the net. Somebody will yell Turgeon behind, and they watch for it, and they cut those passes.
Kasparaitis again on Hatcher, took him down.
Boys, watch your ligaments, because this man is going for him. Another huge hit for Kasparaitis, this time on Hatcher.
David Volek behind his own net. Volek, Poulin was there to take it away. Poulin, Berube tried to center. Hextall knocked that away. Janot took a shot on Poulin. They're going at it. Poulin, Janot now separate. There's going to be an icing call here. Looking at what's going on behind the play.
Casparitis was dumped by Berube in the neutral zone, and there was no call on that one. And it looked like Janot came down with a stick on the top of Poulin's head. And this is what happens when nothing is called and the frustration level gets to a boiling point. Behind the net is when it all started, between right there on the left, Berube and Casparitis. Oh, slammed to the ice. Casparitis got up and looked like he tried to hit. There's a stick coming down on Poulin, so there was no call there. And watch on the right, there's Casparitis going down. So all of this is going on, and the ref was right in the middle of it.
Bobby Nystrom was telling us an interesting story about Casparitis. John McClain of the New Jersey Devils the other day saw Casparitis coming in a game, put his elbow up, really clocked him in the head. After the game, Casparitis couldn't understand why McClain would do that to him. He thinks he can do all of this because that's his job and that's the way he plays, but nobody else is supposed to do that.
Well, a lot of guys see what he does as a cheap shot. I give him all the credit in the world. If he hits low, yeah, it's legal. It's also lethal. But if you're not getting called for it, baby, and you're an aggressive player, I say go for it. If you want to change the rules to take it away from him, go ahead. But he is playing within the rules as they are structured right now. But he can't go through the entire season in people's face like he was last year. Guys catch on, and they're going to beat him up. It's a long year.
Remember, the goaltender, if he shoots it up without touching anybody or anything, is called for delay a game if it ends up in the seats. So that high glass helps deny some of that. See the Islanders, just one shot here. Here we go again. Oh, it's Vukota. It's Berube. Round 2.
Make this 1,000,001 times Berube has fought Vukota. Same start.
They already have one fight in the game.
Oh! Well, this won't go anywhere, I don't think, now that they've got a grip. See, the one thing they both got when they went in. Oh, Vukota let go and decided to go with the left. Remember what we said about Vukota? He's a smart fighter. Now, they were both tied up, and Mick Vukota had the option. Either tie up Berube's right or start to throw him with his left. Look at the mark right in front of Vukota's forehead. He may have reopened a cut that he got 3 weeks ago in a fight with Kenny Danico of the New Jersey Devils. He took about 8 stitches right between the eyes when Danico punched him before Vukota realized there was a fight. And Vukota today said, Danico surprised me because he usually lets me square off and we go fair and square.
This all started. Now, the Devils come out of this big-time losers. Kenny Danico, one of the best players in the National Hockey as far as good, solid defensive play. And Mick Vukota, who does his job well, but it's usually just to stir things up.
Guys enjoy watching fighters go at it.
You bet. Remember, we did a graphic earlier in the season. The guys that have fought the most in the last 5 years. Basil McRae was #1, and in that game he was playing Toronto, and Ken Baumgartner was #5. In the middle, in numbers 2 and 4 positions, were Vukota and Berube.
Now Chinoth takes a shot here as Hextall didn't appreciate the charge on the net made by Konowalchuk.
Well, Gary, we talked about the added penalty minutes when teams face one another for the first time following a playoff matchup the season before, and it's not myth, it is fact. 18 minutes in penalties more per game on the average when these teams meet for the first. There's Keith Jones and his baby tooth.
He's checking to see if anybody might like to go. 22, Konowalchuk reaches in after Hextall's got it. Hextall protecting himself and then gets a little help from him.
You know, Hextall really didn't do anything other than put his stick up, but after the freight train treatment that he got in the first period.
Konowalchuk ended up 3-on-2. McGinnis the other way. McGinnis one way, then the other. Hatcher bangs at him and takes him down. Hatcher, strong play on him and got away with it. And then on the other side, Malikoff a cross-check. Penalty coming up here. Hatcher gets dumped again. McGinnis and Poulin looking at one another. Malikoff is hurting at center ice.
The slashing is out of hand. I just saw 4 consecutive, 2 from each team. So it's, you know, it's not one team. 2 giant axe-like swings on the slash. And that's Hatcher after the play, but actually they're away from the play, just giant slashes.
The New York Islanders all around at center right now. Cote dropped it off for Ridley. Ooh. He was skating backwards when he got hit. Dennis Vaske didn't touch him very hard. Yeah. Actually, Vaske tried to back off on that, but the way things are right now, any touch is perceived as injurious.
Check it out. Every little hit becomes a why I oughta.
This is not an easy game to officiate. Maybe
a little respect now. Maybe, I think Ridley's beef here was that the whistle was blowing as Vaske was hitting him on that offside call.
Off the face-off, this 4-3 game, third period underway. Islanders have it. Casparitis, here we go again.
Oh, baby.
This is round 3. Vukota and Berube, third time tonight.
Oh, man. Oh. Come on, come on. Well, they got to go sooner. The linesman may jump in. Of course, the linesmen maybe have heard this is their last game, and they're going to say, I ain't jumping in now. Ah, didn't turn into very much. Did not turn into very much. But how about the linesmen who have undoubtedly heard that this will be potentially their last game unless they work tomorrow night? You're going to jump in? And we told you that these guys have fought a long time. There's a mutual admiration society. This is a quote out of the Islanders yearbook from Mick Vukota on Craig Berube. I know what it took for a guy like Berube to reach this level. Only his teammates understand what he means to his team. And there is really mutual respect between these two guys.
Berube started to the dressing room, but I think he thinks there's an automatic game involved. When you get to that third fight, they go back and get him and say, oh, hey, stick around. You may have round 4.
Well, maybe we're going to embarrass you and only give you 2. You got to love their pre-fight form, though. John L. Sullivan on one side, Gentleman Jim Corbett on the other.
They'll have a... Krieger trying to ram it in. Hextall takes a stick to the face. Krieger does. Puck still loose. Play goes on. Krieger is hurt at the side of the net. Brought up by King. If they score here, is there going to be some hollering? Cleared up near side boards. Casparitis. Krieger still down at the other end. There's the whistle. Casparitis took a shot at Poulin. King has to step in to get Iafrate away from Casparitis. And at the other end, Todd Krieger, who was hurt, still skating, trying to get up here, so it's not an uneven advantage if this thing erupts. He took a stick to the face when he came into the crease as he tried a wraparound shot.
Well, you know what, Gary? I don't want to judge Todd Krieger, but the fact that Todd Krieger, look, is back and in the play is an indication that some of those fakes should be let go. Now, Krieger may have been hit, He's obviously not seriously hurt. He's back in it. That's the problem I have with the automatic high sticking rule. A player folds up and goes down, and all of a sudden he's rewarded for his acting ability. Krieger was not seriously hurt, and the referee made the right call by not blowing the darn play down.
Now we're going to have more penalties.
He took a clip in the face, but the difference in the rules now, as compared to the way they used to be, and here you see the shot that he took, is that it was a badge of courage to play after you got hit like that. Now the reward is for being able to draw a penalty with the reaction that Krieger gives. Now, he took a pretty good lick. I'll give him that. And he might not be the best example, but you and I have seen so many players that go down, and what a tough spot for the referee to be in. Do you blow the play down or not? First, he's got a face shield on, so you have to assume it's not an eye. You can assume that it's not an eye. It might be yeah, he got it in the nose. And you can generally tell from a player's reaction if it's an eye, because that's scary. You can sense their body movements that it's an eye. And then Krieger got dinged. That's good. That's a fair call to give out a penalty, but I agree with not blowing it down right away.
Kristich looking in the middle. Back to the point. Johansson the shot. Wide of the net. Rebound covered up. Rebound came right back to the side of the net. Kristich getting into it behind the net. Kelly Johansson is leaving the ice. He's hurt. Johansson over by the bench. Was way behind the play.
Didn't he just rip the shot? I mean, did he hurt himself in the shot? Watch him here on the shot. I didn't think anybody touched him. Oh, he rolls over on his right ankle. Looked like he got caught in some kind of rut and actually turned over his right ankle.
Oh. Here's a chance, 2-on-1 break the other way. Near side, they've got McGinnis. McGinnis the shot. Tabarachi the save. Rebound, score! Travis Green gets his first National Hockey League hat trick. Over to Krieger. Todd Krieger in. Krieger drops it down low. Looking. Block. Shot. Covered up. Shot. Shot. Score! They're back at it.
And after a terrific camp, that's what is maddening for a coach. Terry Murray said it was the best camp he'd ever been a part of. And just flat. 6 losses to start the season.
Very hard to explain. And they're struggling in the conference right now. Washington 3-8-1 in the conference. For the drop of the puck here. Travis Green will be chased out of there. Dave Poulin stays in there and waits. Benoit Hogue will come in to take the face-off. Hogue and Poulin. And won by Hogue behind his own net. Capitals down a goal with 6:37 left to go. It's up against the boards. Kicking at it. Poulin. Now they get in the scrum, and there's the whistle. Tommy Curvers and Poulin are both going to go here for roughing. You may have heard the players saying, let us play the game. 6:33 remaining.
You know, Gary, one of the things that we haven't talked about concerning the replacement officials is the actual manual skill level that is involved. And it involves dropping the puck. See the linesman dropping the puck? Players complained when the replacement officials began. There's so many of them just threw it down, and it looks, I guess, to the naked eye, if you're not a hockey aficionado, that they just sort of throw it in between the sticks. The whole trick is to throw it down so that it lands flat and ideally does not bounce. With some of the replacement officials, that skill level was not quite as good, and it was like an Indian rubber ball bouncing in between the players. So it left a good face-off man really kind of at a disadvantage.
Amazing how the little things suddenly appear when those who do it aren't doing it anymore.
Well, let's see if this one lands flat. Maybe we can watch it. Maybe it'll be a good one.
Matching minors again. So here we go again. 4-on-4. Travis Green giving instructions for Benoit Hogue on positioning here, or vice versa. Bavag is waiting to take the face-off for the Capitals. Visiting players going to put the stick down first.
Yeah, it looked flat to me. Well, it was a clean draw, nothing bounced.
Well, the way it's supposed to be done. 2-on-1 break. Turgeon coming. Turgeon with King on the right. Turgeon over to King. King on the backhand side. Scores!
I thought Iafrate was going to catch Derek King. Watch the slash here, too. The one-hand chop to the skates, and it only took Derek King's skates out. He was able to transition to the forehand up over Rick Tabarachi. for the 2-goal lead. So Derek King, who missed the first 3 games of this season with his mother's passing, and then went 4 games, the next 4 games without a goal, now has 12 goals in the last 16 games. Boy, you wouldn't want anybody. Look at Iafrate, really went at him there, Gary. I was worried that King was going to end up with a busted ankle. Watch this slash. Wham!
That's as hard as you can do.
That's as hard as you can swing.
And 8:11 left to go in the third. Iafrate tipped into the zone on Hextall. Hextall wants that goal. Knocked down by Hatcher. He's got an empty net to shoot at and a 2-goal lead to play with. Priestage backs it up there. Hextall again looking at the empty net. Hextall going for the goal.
Oh, yeah. Iafrate's hanging back at center, so he can't get it over his head.
Hatcher at center. Sends that one back in again. Folks have been wanting Hextall to get one. Nope. All the way to the blue line.
Hatcher and Iafrate were both back for the fair catch on that one.
And that'll do it. In the first meeting since the playoffs last season, the New York Islanders have come away with a 6-4 win. Travis Green, the hero here tonight, as he picked up his first National Hockey League hat trick, getting 2 in the first, 1 in the third. Hextall gets the win. This is Travis Green, the man who got it done tonight. Sports Night is coming up next. Our final score on the island, the Islanders 6, the Caps 4. For Bill Clement and all of our crew, this is Gary Thorne.